You would think that after Rachel Zegler's Snow White disaster, that a lot of people at Disney would be looking across at their stars and saying, hey, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, we should try not to piss people off. We should desperately try not to just tell half our fan base to go screw themselves. Maybe we should make sure that we don't have something like this happen again. Because Rachel Zegler, in the aftermath, we know all these things that went down behind the scenes. The protections Disney put in place to make sure she didn't put her foot in her mouth once again. And also, now that we have the second weekend box office numbers, we know that, yes, indeed, Snow White is a historic flop for Disney. The biggest live action conversion, or animated to live action conversion, the worst flop that they've ever seen. We'll be lucky to get too far past $200 million at the box office. Right now, it's on pace to lose Disney nearly $300 million. But another Disney star who said very controversial things in the past apparently supports Rachel Zegler. The very same man who is starring not only in a Star Wars movie that's upcoming, but also in a Marvel movie that's upcoming, not to mention the entire Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars saga. He's also going to be a big part of that. That, of course, is Pedro Pascal. He's supporting Rachel Zegler in her quest to lose Disney hundreds of millions of dollars. Pedro Pascal calls Rachel Zegler an icon as he shows support amid Snow White backlash. And this is it right here. Pedro Pascal shares new post in support of Rachel Zegler. Now, it's funny. Pedro Pascal, as this movie, Snow White, has completely fucking bombed. Pedro Pascal, with all this backlash, with Disney making sure to throw her under the bus, and as I've said multiple times, Disney deserves just as much blame for this as Rachel Zegler does. They were the ones that made the decision to cast her, to change the dwarves into CGI abominations. They were the ones who wrote this story about a modern type of Snow White that was wholeheartedly rejected. But Rachel Zegler, she has a lot of fucking blame in this for her opening her mouth time after time after time, including inserting her personal politics into the promotion of this movie. But you can see it right here. Pascal is punk 15 hours ago at Rachel Zegler, icon. So this man who's starring in multiple movies coming out for Disney this year and next year, this man is now supporting the very person that Disney's kind of in a public feud with, who lost them $300 million. And it's also ironic because if you remember, I know it's 5 years ago. That seems like forever in internet years. But 5 years ago, Pedro Pascal, he did get very inherently political, just like Rachel Zegler did. He did call half the fucking country Nazis. He did tell half the country to go fuck themselves, right? That's the man who did this. This is Pedro Pascal. Losers in 1865. Losers in 1945. Losers in 2020. This was Pedro Pascal back when he was firing these away all the time. Now, it was bad enough that Disney and Lucasfilm allowed Pedro Pascal to continue to tell half the country to go fuck themselves and then fire Gina Carano. Right? That was bad enough. Right? We understand that. But, I mean, Pedro would double down time after time after time. Now, ironically, Pedro Pascal multiple times has shown very public support for Palestine. Maybe that is why he's saying this about Rachel Zegler, because of his political viewpoints and her political viewpoints are aligned. Remember, Pedro Pascal showed this: Germany 1948, America 2008. Ironically enough, he tried to claim that these were kids in cages at the border. Actually, in actuality, for somebody who holds all those beliefs, this is not a picture of the U.S. border. This was a picture of Palestinian children waiting to receive donated food at a soup kitchen. So there's a lot of overlap here with some of these stories. But I think the simple idea that Pedro Pascal, the star of Fantastic Four, a huge part of the Avengers saga moving forward, the star of Mandalorian and Grogu, which is coming out next year as well, this man is now publicly supportive. If you're Disney, this dude, the star that you've made of all these fucking movies, is now publicly supporting the person who just cost you $300 million for not shutting up about her fucking political views and attaching it to the promotion of the movie. Makes you think, doesn't it? That's going to get pretty interesting. Pedro Pascal and Look, maybe he just really fucking believes it. He's saying, fuck Disney. I support Rachel Zegler. I don't care who pays my bills. Maybe that's what he's doing. But I do know this. Pedro Pascal has a history of saying absolutely retarded, unhinged shit online when it comes to politics, sometimes attached to the promotion of his current things, sometimes not. Rachel Zegler did it in connection to the promotion of Snow White, and it hurt her badly. It probably in all likelihood destroyed her movie career. Only time will tell. Maybe she'll come back in a couple years, but at least for a while, no one's going to take a chance on Rachel fucking Zegler. And now Disney has one of their biggest stars, star of Star Wars movie, star of your Fantastic Four movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe moving forward, publicly backing the person they just threw under the bus and who lost them $300 million. Going to be interesting to keep an eye on this one.